Even a dead clock is right twice a day. Nobody MAO came out to kick General Muhoozi in the teeth, saying that after voting, people should be around when counting their vote. In fact, Nobody MAO said this.
Nobody needs to tell me that go home. Now, when you tell people to go home, you are activating unnecessary suspicion in the minds of the people. Remember, based on the cases in court, there are many instances of rigging in our country. And the reason why people want to be with their witnessing is because they want to avoid that rigging.
So by Nobody MAO coming out to say this, it clearly brings out the old Nobody MAO. First of all, I was among the first people who felt bad when Nobody MAO joined the dictatorial government. And to a certain extent is the reason as to why even this election is like this. He was the first person to come out and to say that elections are going to be quiet, meaning that there should be no procession and merrymaking. And when the police came out and beat Bobi Wine in Gulu, I think he saw that his statements were going to make him look bad. So he's starting to change post. In fact, during Mass on Sunday, he thanks the father who came out hard on government for beating Bobi Wine in Gulu, because General Moses had come out to say that after voting, you should go back home.
We appeal to citizens to cast their votes peacefully and go home, not to hang around the polling stations. The vote counting and tallying process will be transparent and is done in the open. Each individual candidate's agents will be present, and these include presidential, the directly elected MPs, and women MPs. That is on the 15th of January, 1 month from now, 1 month from today. Local and international election observers will also be present, and so will the media. So there is no need for people to hang around saying they are protecting votes. The process is transparent, and all these measures are in place to make sure that that transparency is clear for all to see. Therefore, there will be enough scrutiny to ensure that the election process is transparent, free and fair, and above all, credible. Those who try to cause trouble, as I've heard some people proclaim, will be dealt with swiftly and with all the tools at our disposal and in accordance with the law.
So the purpose of this video, I've come to show you how Nobody MAO is playing politics to win the MP race. Why? And I also give you the reason as to why I think he came out with such statements, but most importantly, the statements we can learn from the politics of our nation. But before I do this, I want to let you know that if you're new to this channel, please subscribe. And if you're watching this video from a different platform, please head on to YouTube, type in Sula Mawagari. There is a lot of content of this nature. If geopolitics and economics is what you want, this will be definitely the right channel for you to subscribe to. First of all, Nobody MAO joined the government. There were very many speculations, most especially in the opposition, saying that MAO had been bought by government a long time ago, and it reached where he had to join the government. It's the reason that's why when you hear a rumor, most of the time it is right. In fact, the position of the Minister of Justice stayed empty for 1 year until he joined. It means that they had prior negotiations. For me, what pains me more is such a brain like Nobody MAO is being destroyed by a dictator because he wants to hold up a small position of being a cabinet secretary or a minister. So when he comes out to say that people after voting should not go back home, for me it gives me hope, but at the same time it contradicts him. In fact, let me first play a tape before I proceed. Here's the tape.
And for them, protecting the vote means They must watch every step. And there is no law that stops you from watching every step. That's why even our courts are open. The law says when the voting has ended, the presiding officer will count the ballots in the presence of voters who are present to witness. And it does not even say that those who should witness are 2, 5, 10, or 20. Even if a polling station has 500, if the 500 are interested in witnessing, the law does not stop them from being around. It's very important that we implement the law as it is. Laws are not suggestions. Laws are commands. Actually, the right thing to say is, don't crowd in the voting area. Nobody needs to tell me that go home. Now, when you tell people to go home, you are activating unnecessary suspicion in the minds of the people. Remember, based on the cases in court, there are many instances of rigging in our country. And the reason why people want to be with their witnessing is because they want to avoid that rigging. It may even be a ground for petitioning the results of an election that voters were denied the right to witness. Somebody may even demand a recount and say, we never witnessed, so please come and count in our presence. So we need to avoid controversies. Let us put Uganda first. Let us continue to realize that the elections will come and go, but Uganda must remain united. I call upon our security forces, the police and the army. Let us exercise restraint. The force must be equal to the danger, not more than the danger. The use of excessive force is totally unacceptable.
That is Norbert MAO. First of all, what Norbert MAO raised is in public order. Things of threatening us that after voting we should go back home, should not hold water in this country, most especially when Museveni has ever come out to say that they stole his votes and the opposition is crying. So it gives a reason as to why we should stay. In fact, I feel bad when the Electoral Commission chairperson, the incompetent Muhoozi, speaks this in the same tone and the same language with the CDF, the incompetent muhoozi kainerugaba. It shows you that maybe they have a meeting together and they communicate to the people, the dictatorial tendencies. So by Norbert MAO, because the Electoral Commission is under the Minister of Justice, coming out to speak like that, it means two things. One, Gulu is predominantly opposition, basing on the number of MPs. So to run Gulu, you must be seen as if you're in opposition. Since Norbert MAO is in government as a minister, at the same time he must speak at both ends of his mouth so that he can be elected. Quote me right, Norbert MAO is a good leader. Even when he speaks silly things, it's because he wants. General Museveni uses them. He has ever come out to say that every time a person joins General Museveni's government, he's being used as a wheelbarrow. And now, sometimes it's being used. It's the reason as to why he speaks some unconstitutional things sometimes. My problem is, Mao continued to say that after 2026, they are going to sit together to see a transition, which I don't think. In fact, before I expound on this, first listen to Norbert MAO.
Whether it is a government of national unity or not, but there must be enhanced cooperation among political parties to build consensus on what sort of Uganda we need. And then after 2031, we implement the consensus. That can only be done between 2026 and 2031. And then, of course, we must be sure that in case of anything, everybody must defend the constitution, especially the army. I have been assured by senior military officers that they will defend the constitution as it is.
That is Norbert Mao. For me, I keep on telling people that Norbert Mao, I don't know how Genome 7 is able to use such brilliant brains so that they can look like 3-year-old people. Norbert Mao is coming out to say that after 2026, they are going to sit together as opposition and government to see a transition. He thinks that we are stupid. Among the issues that he raised when he was joining government, he came out to say that he's going to create electoral reforms, they are going to talk about transition. Even the things they signed in an agreement have failed. And now he's enlarging to 2026. He expects to be in cabinet. And of course, in the most likely event Genome 7 wins, I think he will pick him as a cabinet secretary. So he thinks that in 2026, their leaders are going to sit together to start transition. My brothers and sisters, there is no transition that has ever been done by leaders, with the exception of the people. The people are supposed to be on the forefront. A transition with only leaders cannot be attainable. Secondly, it's the reason as to why, under Norbert Mao, they changed their law so that they can force NUP to join IPOD through political party funds, because Norbert Mao cannot realize speaking with the government if the biggest opposition party is not on the table. So they are forcing negotiations. Negotiations are not forced. Dictatorships are not taken out by negotiations. They are taken out. Negotiation can come after pressing the dictator. When Moi was going, they had to press him to an extent that each and every election he used to win below 37%. So he realized negotiations only cannot take Genome 7 home. Okay? So the hypocrisy of Norbert Mao is thinking that even after he signed the agreement, the things which were in the agreement were never fulfilled. He thinks that in 2027 they will be fulfilled. How can you create a law to force engagement and transition? You cannot force engagement. But in all democracies, political parties are given political party funds with no strings attached of sitting together. In Uganda, political party funding is hinged on sitting in IPOD, the General Kagota M7. Some of these opposition leaders are the most dictators if they are given a chance. A person like Norbert Mao, can you force NUP to come in IPOD? It must be voluntary. How can you force a person to come and sit on the table when people are being killed? As you speak right now, more than 500 supporters of Bobi Wine are facing fictitious charges. Okay, so that is the only part, the hypocrisy of Norbert Mao. Norbert Mao wants to be married at the same time he wants to be a virgin. Okay, I agree with one thing though, from Norbert Mao's statement, after voting, no going back home. But the issue of transition 2026, even and coming at the background that you failed to even honor the things which were in the agreement, and now we are taking it to 26 that we must sit together. We cannot allow those things to happen. Genome 7 must be pressed to go. Dictatorships are threatened before you go in a negotiation. Trust me. Genome 7 we must come out to threaten power so that we can press him to yield on our decisions. Other than that, Norbert Mao, you are lying. Of course, that's my opinion. Remain yours truly, Mr. Makindi. Kabi Sulaiman Mawagali. I'll see you on another one. Peace.